Hey everyone, welcome back and welcome in if you're new. My name is Kay and today's swatch sesh features Cracked Polish's last minute gifts collection, which they sent over to me as PR, and I'm quite excited because I think this is the first Valentine's Day set that I review on the channel if I'm not mistaken, and I do love Valentine's Day polishes. Now, this set in particular is pretty small. We're just getting a quad here. It's just 4 polishes, but I think it's a very strong and complete little set that we have here. I don't want to give too much away, so we should get right into the sesh. Let's swatch them out, let's check them out, and we'll see if you agree. Dumpster Fire. We're kicking off the sesh with a polish from the Prugly Pals Facebook group. This is Dumpster Fire, which is a magnetic that I'll first swatch in the unmagnetized state. So what you're seeing here is a mix of pink magnetic pigment in a brown base with green and gold flakies, which results in a particularly interesting shade in my opinion. When left unmagnetized, it almost looks like a multi-chrome finish with added flakies, and those flakies do pop. They manage to come through nicely even amongst all that pink pigment. If I move to indirect lighting though, things start to get a little more coppery, a little more green, as you can see in this clip. But as always, the most exciting part is when you add a magnet to the mix. A bar magnet is gonna pull that magnetic curtain to the center, fully exposing those rich copper toned flakies in the background and bring the pink pigment to the forefront. But another way to rock this is with a horseshoe magnet, where the pink magnetic pigment is still in the forefront. You're gonna see it flashing and fading across your nail, which allows for those flakies and copper tones in the background to peek through. Worthy of Love. Next up, we have Worthy of Love, which is a bonus shade, and we have something quite simple here when it comes to the formula. This is your basic creme in a deep red color, which a lot of you know I'm not a fan of cremes, but come on now, this is a red. I actually don't mind this. However, I'm not sure when I'd be in the mood for this either. So the formula, it feels just as smooth as you're seeing in my swatches. Keep in mind, it is not a 1-coater, but 2 coats will get the job done for you. Now, the mood of the end result is romantic, mature, sophisticated. It's not a loud, fun red, but I wouldn't describe it as vampy either. It's somewhat sitting in the middle, being more of a reserved and classy toned, kind of feeling like a nighttime red, if that makes any sense. Pinching Bronze Pennies. Moving on to the shade, which is a revamped version of the original Pinching Bronze Pennies. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the original version to compare it to, but hopefully my swatch can help you get an idea of what this polish looks like. So what we have in this revamped version is a bronze color seasoned with gold, pink, and green shimmers, whereas the original version was a bronze with gold, pink, and green color shifting shimmers that shifted into gold. Now, my end result here is after 2 coats, and I did notice that this one has a slight shift as well, or maybe it's just the indirect lighting helping that green shimmer come alive. Either way, let me know in the comments if you owned the OG version and what you think of this revamped one. Taro Milk Tea. Here we have the January jelly of the month, which is this delicate tone of purple. Cracked specifically describes it as a lavender gray jelly, which has been my jam lately. I don't know, my curiosity for smoky purples has surged as of late, so I'm pretty happy for this one. For those of you who are familiar with cracked jellies, I find the jelly formula is what you would expect from cracked, and for those of you who aren't, this type of jelly is a bit more milky and buildable. Personally, I find that 2 coats is a good stopping point because you get a nice show of color while still getting some visible nail line, but overall it was very self-leveling and it left me with a nice squishy and glassy end result. Drugstore Chocolate. Here we have the first of the last minute gift set, which I'll be swatching in 3 ways since it is a magnetic, starting with the unmagnetized state, which I found to be incredibly opaque, so much that I felt I was in the safe zone just with one coat, although my hand was a little heavy, so you may not get the same result with a thin coat. So the end result you're seeing here mostly looks like a shimmery red with a nice level of vibrancy, but let me bring out this bar magnet that pulls all that red magnetic pigment to the center and reveals the deep red base that this polish has as a foundation. I am so digging this monochromatic magnetic moment we're having here. Now here comes the horseshoe though, with its magic creating a velvety, glowy 3D effect, just another way to show off that stunning red on red. Personally, I'll say this polish is a 10 out of 10. This is really an iconic color. I feel like red never goes out of style. So this is gonna be like a default setting for you red lovers. Street Corner Bouquet. So now we're gonna drive over to that little stand with those pink flowers for a street corner bouquet, which is a really sweet color. It has rose and pink flakies with a shift to gold, which I'll show soon. But first, forgive me because this is a topper, but I cannot help myself. I need to rock this alone, so I'm gonna push this polish and see what I get back. And it's actually doing a great job at reaching what looks like full coverage, so much that I would dare to call this a full coverage flaky. This is actually reviving my interest in flakies. It almost looks like I foiled my nail in pink aluminum, and the shift to gold just makes it that much more interesting to look at. But I still wanted to try it as a topper. However, the pink really takes over. So here I have it as a jelly sandwich using Taro Milk Tea. I do think this looks pretty delicate and also very fitting for spring. Either way, if you're into pink, you're really gonna appreciate this one. It's definitely a favorite. Heart-shaped necklace. Moving on to the next pink option of the collection, but this one's very different and it's actually the 2.0 version of Feed Me Treats. Now the original was described by Cracked as a sheer pink with pink and blue shimmers and a soft blue hue, but this 2.0 version is a sheer pink polish with blue shimmers. It seems to me that this was a perfect collection to release this 2.0 version, being that it actually fits so well with the theme and holiday that this set was released for. So here's my end result, and as sheer as this polish is, I was able to pretty much cover up my nail line after those 2 coats, but it still maintains that gentle, soft quality. Overall, I feel like the mood here is giving something along the lines of innocent, pure love. No reservations. And now we have this amazing shade to swatch, which is another 2.0 shade. No Reservations is the upgrade to Amethyst Dart Frog. I feel like this is a pretty big change because Amethyst Dart Frog was described as a sheer but buildable lilac color with blue and purple shimmer. This 2.0 is a pink magnetic with blue aurora shimmer in a blurple base. So wow, even though I don't have the OG, I feel like they took different aspects of it and completely rebuilt the frog. They gave it magnetic power. So let's check this out. We get a soft, clean line of pink magnetic particles down the center, and notice how the blurple in the background isn't necessarily sheer like the OG was. I also think there's a slight shift to purple as well. But let's go ahead and put the horseshoe magnet on it, which is going to take us down a different route. Look at how that soft pink pigment scatters like a glaze across the nail. Overall, I think they did a great job kind of like Frankensteining the OG. They really did reconfigure the use of colors in a way that still honors the OG polish. And those were the swatches. What a well-rounded little collection we have here, right? Just a quad, but I do feel like every single one of these polishes is strong on their own. However, if you just so happen to put them together, then you get this substantial little Valentine's Day set, in my opinion. And I do feel like we kind of get an option for all of the possible Valentine's Day moods, especially with the addition of No Reservations, which kind of feels like an alternative Valentine's Day option. And on that note, on that magnetic note, the magnetics were great. We got a big pull. There's a lot of magnetic pigment in these magnetic polishes, but of course we know this to be true because crack does have a habit of maintaining a very lubricated wrist joint, which allows for that big plop of pigment. The last minute gift set collection launches on January 23rd at 11 a.m. EST, and the full set is going to launch for $48. Now, if you want to get the separate polishes, you could do that. They're going to go for $13 each. And if on that day you only have money for one polish, this is actually really hard today. I would recommend Street Corner Bouquet. If you have money for two, I would go with Drugstore Chocolate. If you have money for three, I'm gonna go with Worthy of Love. And then my other favorites are Taro Milk Tea. I'm actually really excited to wear this one as a full manicure. And No Reservations was also really cool. I really did have a lot of favorites in this collection drop. So that is gonna be it for today's swatch sesh. Thank you so much for joining in, for hanging out. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching so much. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.